Fantastic. You guys have been hanging out here on your own. Apologies. So with Zoom events, it turns out whenever the next session has been started, the other one is locked out, and so no one is able to join that room. So that's what has happened. But I hope you're all well. Can see Asatsa, can see Martha, you can see Brian, John as well. So what we'll be doing is we'll be engaging in a conversation with all of you on really your experiences of working and studying outside Kenya. And I think James Otieno is also with us here, and we'd really be honored to have you join that conversation as well, especially coming from that postdoctoral level. We have experiences from, we have those who are at MSc level, we have those who are working and at different levels. So we'll just give a few minutes for the rest to join in from streaming from the other room, and then we'll continue. So it's been really great learning, working with this Zoom events platform. So we've been hitches here and there, but I think all of you have been really gracious and awesome, being able to walk through all that. So we'll just give them a few more minutes. Apologies, we are running a bit late, but I think we'll just capture this like it would be the networking session. So that's how we will capture this. So this is a time to converse, a time to network, and just a time to learn from those who've been able to venture outside Kenya, get into different careers, either working or studying in the different regions, either in Europe and in the Americas. So if all of you can see Martha, Cecilia, you're already here. It's really, really nice to see all of you. If you're able to share your screens, not your screens, your videos, that would really be fantastic. We have John Okech. First up is yet to stream in from the other meeting, but we have Winfred. Welcome. So what we will do, without taking much more time, what I will do is we'll just do a round of quick introduction, and within the introduction we can start the conversation. And as you introduce yourself, briefly tell us about yourself, where you are, what you're doing, and briefly highlight the pathway that you took to get to where you are. And for that, I'll use the order on the screen. So no preference. We'll start with Brian, and then as we move to next, Martha, John, Winfred, Nabwire, and Cecilia.
Okay, so hi everyone. I hope you can hear me very well.
Yes.
Well, so my name is Brian Abucheri, and right now I'm a master's student at São Paulo State University here in Brazil. We are just beginning our days, so I was a little bit unprepared, but thank you for inviting me to share my experiences with you. So before I came here, I was an intern at ICIPE, Bioinformatics intern, and before that, I was an intern at the Walter Reed project in Kisumu. I graduated from Moi University with a BSc in microbiology, and from then on, genetics, bioinformatics was just something that I was really passionate about. And so I tried several scholarships. I even tried ENVIT, I think at one point, did not go through. But after that, I got the ICIPE internship opportunity. And through this, I got to meet incredible people like Caleb over here and Brian Boanya. Through him, I got to know about my current opportunity here in Brazil. And we were just scrolling on Twitter one day and we saw this chance and we we're like, okay, so let's just apply and see what happens. And so I applied, did some interviews, some tests, and now I'm here working on a project concerning Tikruzi. We're trying to find some drug targets in the genes, principally the phosphoinositol pyrophosphates. And yeah, my experience so far has been really, really great. The only challenge I had was how to learn how to speak Portuguese, because everyone here speaks Portuguese. And it was something that I knew nothing about. And so I had to begin from step one. But right now it's been a year and some months and everything is great so far.
Fantastic. Martha?
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Martha Luca. I have a number of titles, but I'll go with bioinformatician. I'm a bioinformatician at the Center for Virus Research, which is an institute within the University of Glasgow. And basically currently just working on a SARS-CoV-2 project, trying to understand its dynamics in terms of evolution and transmission. How did I end up here? So, okay, sorry. Before here, I was an ENBIT MSc student at Pwani University / Kemri Wellcome Trust. And before that, I was a postgraduate diploma student at the Kemri Wellcome Trust. So just a summary, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, what has changed? What's going next? John.
Thank you, Caleb, for hosting us. My name is John Okech. I'm a PhD student at Leicester University, and my project is focused on genetics of lung disease. And how I got here, if I just to summarize my path, it was a mixture of bit challenging experience and somewhat being lucky and hard work. So after my BSc, I volunteered as a research assistant for 1 year, and then later got a research assistant job at Kemri Wellcome Trust, worked for 2 years, went back to class for my master's, sponsored by ENBIT, and then just at the end of my master's, I started my PhD.
Thank you. It's really good to get to interact with you again. Cecilia?
Good. Hello, everybody. I am
Hello.
Cecilia. Hi. I'm currently at Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. I forgive if my voice is a bit hoarse. It's morning for us. So I'm a molecular microbiologist, bacteriologist, and I'm currently working on antibiotic resistance to understand heteroresistance. So single cells that have the same genotype but different phenotypes. So the question is, what is happening in there? And before Emory University, I was a research scientist at the Walter Reed project in Nairobi. And how I got here, I wrote an email. I figured it was time I did I enrolled for a PhD program, and I wrote an email, connected with a professor, and I'm here. About to Caleb.
Fantastic. She wrote an email. That's really we don't recognize so much power that it really has. We always look for opportunities to be advertised, but I think also writing an email works. Nabwire, please unmute.
Oh, hi, everyone. My name is Nabwire Asatsa, but everyone calls me Asatsa. I am currently in Belgium at the Ghent University, doing a master's in marine and lacustrine science, and I am currently just beginning my thesis. So I'm working on copepods, which are important, how do I say, animal plankton. They're found everywhere, and the interface between primary production and the fish you eat. So yeah, I'm investigating how climate change affects them, mostly the global rise in temperature. Yeah, I got here by going through a harsh application process, I think.
Thank you, Nabila. Festus?
Hi everyone, my name is
Hi.
Festus Nyasimi, and I think I've pretty seen most of you before. So my journey, I think it's more basically taking shots. I took shots where I thought I was ineligible, and that's how I got where I am. So currently, I'm a data scientist at the University of Chicago in the genetic medicine section. And basically, my work entails developing tools and models for predicting the genetic levels or maybe metabolite levels on individuals using their genetic information or summary statistics. And then once you have those kind of details, that's what you use to apply for polygenic risk scores. And maybe hopefully in the future, I'd like to apply this in the African population in the long term. How I got here, I think for me, I took a shot on the DM on Twitter and then followed up an email. That's how I got myself here. Previously, I've worked at ISIPE, and previously I was a master student, and previously I was an intern. I was actually Cecile's intern at some point. So yeah, it's a small world.
It is a small one, and it's really good to see all of you and the progress you're making. Winfred.
Hi everyone, my name is Winfred Gatua. I'm currently a PhD student here at the University of Bristol within Bristol Medical School, that's MRC-IU. Basically the pioneers of causal inference methods. So previously, I've been an Ian Beat Fellow, still have not graduated yet with my master's, that's pending. And I am a holder of a postgraduate diploma in health research methods from Pwani University. And that's KWTRP, that's Kemri Wellcome Trust Research Program in Kilifi, and also a Bachelor of Science in Biomedical Sciences and Technology from Laikipia University. So yeah, my pathway to this place, yeah, it's a roller coaster of stuff and volunteering 10 months, not being paid, but I chose not to give up, yeah, at the Institute of Primate Research. But later I got the opportunity to join Kemri Wellcome Trust. And so after that, worked for 3 months. My decision was to pursue my career further, my studies. So I resigned and went back for the master's fellowship. Then I was looking for opportunities all over the internet, and I did about 15 applications, shortlisted 4, got 2, rejected 1, chose 1, which is what I'm doing currently, whereby I'm working on integration of omics data for drug discovery for complex traits. And major focus is actually the cerebrovascular disease and the cardiovascular diseases. Thank you.
Thank you, Winfred. Really, thank you for sharing that. And I think one thing that all of us, I think we rarely talk about is rejections. It's full of getting to take your shots, getting rejected and trying again. And that perseverance and persistence is what gets us there. So I think we also have James joining us in this conversation. Since James, we've already heard about your presentation, but can you talk a little bit about how you got to where you are and where you, for those who are not aware?
I was planning to hide, but anyway. Hi, everyone. My name is
Hello.
James Otieno, currently a postdoc at the NIH, specifically the Fogarty International Center. How I got here, I took an airplane. But anyway, I mean, I did my undergraduate at Moi Biochemistry, and then taught a bit before I ended up at, doing my internship at Cambridge Wellcome Trust. Then went for my master's at the University of Leicester, where John is, did bioinformatics, went back to Cambridge Wellcome Trust, and then did my PhD from there. Then afterwards, just came over here. So currently working on seasonal coronaviruses, influenza, and also doing capacity building in genomic epidemiology.
Thank you, James. I think we all have different pathways to get into where we are. And I think when Fred talked about rejection, I think I'll skip some of the questions we originally had, but I also just want to highlight that aspect of rejections and how do you deal with it? How do you keep going when there are so many rejections and it feels as if this is not going to work, especially when you have something that you're really interested in. That's like, this is my pathway, but then you're continually getting rejections. And I think I'll start with you, Winfred, as we move forward in that conversation.
Wow, yeah, that's interesting. I think one of the things as I was growing up that my mom initiated in me was the aspect of never giving up. And whenever you give me an answer, for instance, I don't take a no for an answer. So I will always find alternative ways to fix that. So I don't just take a no and sit back, oh, I got that rejection, I'm not likely to make it. So yeah, just having that inner motivation, the intrinsic effort within me that keeps telling me, okay, this is my focus. I want to see myself in 5 years, probably a PhD doing this stuff and being in a particular lab. And yeah, so whenever there is an hindrance, I don't allow that particular hindrance to actually limit me from achieving my focus. So ideally the focus, what I'm looking for is the focus. So where do the end goal? So it doesn't matter, I must get there. So yeah, I think that's how I end up not allowing myself to take up a no as an answer. Yeah.
Not taking a no for an answer. Who else would like to jump in? Cecilia, I see your microphone is already on.
Oh. So I don't know. For me, rejections I always thought they'd get easier with time, but they don't. But I guess it's a muscle you have to work. So the more rejections you have, probably the first one you'll be really sad. The fifth one you'll be like, okay, let me try again. But if you're really convinced that that's what you want to do, you have to keep going. And if you're convinced that it will make a difference for you, you keep going. So for me, how I handle rejection is I'll feel bad, obviously. And then for me, it's an opportunity to pause and reassess. Do I need to change the strategy? Do I change the approach? So ask the relevant questions, because sometimes rejection it's an answer in itself. It could be redirection. Probably my skills are not a good match, or probably I am undershooting or overshooting. So it's an opportunity to also learn. Sometimes pause for a bit and have a go at it again. But rejections happen in science, in publication, in applications, in grant writing. So it's a muscle eventually you have to work and use and grow. That's what I'd say about rejection.
Thank you for sharing. Martha?
Yeah, I think I just agree with Cecilia. They don't get easier as you go. I think one way I've learned to handle rejection is, so one, I learned this the hard way. I do not just like identify an opportunity and be like, that's my ride or die. I try to spread my seed as much as I can lately, so that, you know, like, okay, I'll just give an example. When I was looking for an MSc opportunity, I really wanted to go to Cambridge. Like that, I identified a supervisor and applied this. The admission went through, but the funding was taking forever, you know. So unfortunately, I did not get the funding, the Department of Funding. And then, but the PI was also really disappointed. And it was just, so I've come to learn now from that experience that you just spread, you know, you don't put all your eggs in one basket and just apply for many opportunities, because there will be, most of the times there are more than one opportunities that you could fit in. And then the other thing is just identifying or acknowledging the fact that there are more factors to just you not being good enough that you end up not being selected for that role. So you find that, for example, if it's an international scholarship, you might be, in terms of ranking of the candidates, you're the third best, but apparently all the top three are all from Kenya. So the body doesn't want to just have picked Kenyans, you get.
Mhm.
So I came to learn that, and also that was also somehow linked to me not getting funding for the department. Like there are always quote unquote politics to opportunities. So I came to also acknowledge the fact that it's
Yeah.
not always personal, and while sometimes it's that we're not the best fit for an opportunity, it's not always that. So just not taking it as
Yeah.
personal. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a rejection. It's not a failure. It's not an indication that you are terrible, that you're not a good fit in any way. And sometimes it's just they can't take everyone as much as you're really good, but they have to make a decision on who to choose. And if you can be able to identify and realize that, then it gets a bit easier, not easy, but easier. Who else would like to jump in? Festus?
Yeah, so for me, I think between 2016 and 2017, I took a ton of rejections. And the worst one was the one which I did 7 interviews, and then I was told there's no way we can take you in. So I think that was when I was in the verge of giving up. And then so I ended up getting to a place at the internship at Welcome Trust. But what I can say for me, the way I've learned to cope up with rejection, I try to ask feedback from whoever is rejecting me. What am I lacking? Some of them respond to me, some of them don't. But generally, the feedback, that's what I use to grow further. And then I know, okay, this is where I'm lacking, or this is what went wrong. And then I use that to elevate further. And for me, when I take my shots, I usually look at the opportunity itself, I evaluate my skills and the projects which I've done, and see if they align. Then that's how I go for it. And most of the time, either it turns out they respond, at least they try to respond to me. They give me, okay, this is, you're good at this, but because of X, Y, and Z, that's how you cannot do this and that. So kind of get to the feedback point. So I kind of also evaluate where I'm just taking my chances.
Okay, that level of evaluation, I think also Cecilia talked about a good match and a good fit. And I think getting to understand, sometimes some people say even that rejection may be a blessing in disguise sometimes, is the redirection and so forth. And as we talk about the aspect of rejection, anyone else if you would like to jump in? Also, how do you know that an opportunity is a good match, is a good fit? How do you get to figure that out?
Maybe I can go first if everyone else is still thinking. So I think sometimes you don't really know if it's a good match or if it's a good fit. Sometimes you know what you want, but there are things that come along the way that probably you did not see, you did not foresee coming. Like for example, I knew that I wanted to do genetics. I knew I was passionate about bioinformatics, but I did not know exactly what that entailed completely. And so when I was applying for this opportunity, I knew it was related to genetics. I knew it was probably related to, biostatistics and things that I had skills for, but I did not know exactly what it was. And so I just applied, and as I got to learn, as I got to engage myself more with the project and everything, I got to learn. So I think that's one of the biggest advantages with the human brain, because it's that it can learn, it can adapt, and it can learn. So sometimes all you need to know is just where you want to be, or what you're passionate about, or what you want. And if you know you have skills that align with this opportunity that you have, just engage yourself fully in it. And I think everything becomes easier as you go through.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's quite correct. Who else would like to jump in as we also transition towards that aspect of being a good fit, and also how does it feel also to be accepted? John, please go on.
Thank you. Just before I react to that, some sort of peer, it's a pleasure to be in the same room with my mentor, James Otieno. By the way, when I joined Cambridge, I had barely any experience in research and really trained in. Yeah. So for me, I had to do some ground research and just looking at the sort of requirement and see how this match my skill, and also had to ask those people just ahead of me sort of the experience in similar environment. That was really helpful to settling down on my decision.
Thank you. So thanks, James. Would you like to jump in as you address that question? Also reflect also on the question that you've raised on the chat.
So obviously, yes, it's a good thing to be accepted. And how do you know something is a good fit? So one, obviously, if I would say it matches your current skill set. The other thing is that it needn't not match 100%. So it could be, I would say, normally anything above 50 or 60% is good enough, because I also think it's rather a useless thing to take up an opportunity in which you're not going to learn anything. So, but you also sometimes understand people in difficult situations, and they just need a source of income. So you also can't, say, like, why did you take that position, or such a thing. So, and especially I'm fully aware of, Kenya, and there are not so many opportunities that come across, for like that. But yeah, so obviously take something that matches some of your skills, at least if your own personal genuine assessment is that, 50, 60%, the rest you can learn on the job, especially if there's that opportunity. But then my question also was on the other side of rejection. So if an opportunity is availed to you, should you take it because it's available? Should you also have a moment of pause and ask yourself, like, well, this is available, but should I really take it? So this is not a situation where we are talking about you have two offers and you have to pick one. I mean, it could even be the two offers. You should still be in a position to say, well, because I mean, the way Martha described it is like, you're making applications and throwing seeds around. So, some of those seeds could be not really that you've evaluated the position quite clearly, but you're shooting your shot, as you commonly say. But then later you begin to reevaluate some of the applications you've made, and maybe you realize that I don't see this being as a good fit, maybe in terms of where you want to see yourself. Yeah. So I think people should also be courageous and say that I don't want to commit to this path, even though it's available. But then again, I think I would also understand people's personal circumstances or different scenarios. So you might take up something like, well, at least I'll be earning something, but more often than not, I think take up something that agrees with the path that you want to be on. Or at least you're going to learn something that will get you there. Again, remember that this path is never linear. So it always has zigzags, but as long as it's in that general direction, that's all that matters.
Yeah. I really like that, taking a moment to pause and evaluate. And I think you take shots and a number of shots are on target. Now, how do you choose which one to go for? That's a luxury that you have. Festus, you are taking the shots guy. Tell us.
Yeah, I think just reflecting on what James has said, I found myself previously in a similar situation. So whereby I had a couple of opportunities looking in front of me. So I had to figure out where I want to go and what I want to do and how does it align with my future goals. So for me, most of the time, I look at, first of all, from the interviews we had with whoever was interviewing me, the kind of person they are. And most of the time, I usually ask, can I get to talk to members of your team or whoever you're working with, just to get to know the kind of person you are and what is your kind of work life is. And then the second thing, also look at my skill set and what you have to offer. At least most of the time I say I should qualify, the skill sets I have should be at least 40%. And then the 60% is what I'm going to learn at a new place. I'm always curious to getting to learn new things at different places. So looking at that perspective, that's how I look at the opportunities. So I had actually a whole book where I was writing the pros and cons for each. So I ended up now choosing, okay, this one I'm going to learn X, Y, and Z here. This one I'm going to learn A, B, C, D. And then from this one, what are my opportunities of growing further? And then you look at that aspect also. What are your opportunities of going to grow further from where you're going to join? And then that's how I end up maybe selecting the opportunity now, which I feel it's fit for me and it gives me the opportunity to grow further. And then after all those things, now looking at those things, that's when you get to look at now the finances aspect of it. Also, you look at, okay, not that much difference, but again, this one gives me a good perspective of growth. And then also looking at the long term, you see that once you gain those skills from wherever you will be, you'll get an even better opportunity for future goals or wherever it is.
Yeah, thanks, because that's actually having that pros and cons. That makes it an informed decision based on your data and how it aligns with your goals and so forth. Anyone else would like to jump in for this question as we also transition? Okay, I'll transition to the next question and I'll start with Asatsa. I think we've moved forward to talking about now, and you already have the opportunities and now getting to choose or to reject. But how do you find these opportunities? What's your strategy with regards to looking for opportunities, especially outside Kenya? And as you answer that question, why outside Kenya? Why not? Oh, let's get to do our PhDs here. Or let's get to work here in the country. Asatsa?
So for me, most of the opportunities that I actually come across are actually from my network that I've built. So, for example, of course, there are the internet, which I think I also just found out about the internet from actually my network. I am still a very early career scientist. So for example, this one, I got it from my previous supervisor at one university. He saw this and he said, maybe you would be interested in this. And in the lab that I was at previously, also now my colleagues, you actually learn how to look for these things. I was shown how to use Scholarship DB, Twitter, yeah, who to follow to see if there is anything that is advertised. Yeah, but I will say the most important thing is your network. And the next question was why outside Kenya? That was where the scholarship came from. Yeah, but also I think it was important, and I feel like the perspective actually shifts completely, and I have witnessed to that. The interaction with other people away from Kenya, it's really important, and especially in my field, which is marine science, related. This thing is like, okay, everyone has an ocean. The ocean is like global, so it would make sense to actually to learn in a global environment. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Winfred.
All right. Thank you very much, Caleb. So I think I should start with how I search. So I would definitely support what Nabira has said, and it's important to have a network or even a colleague whom you share, and you share goals, and you realize we're looking for this, and that person becomes very instrumental. It can be one person, or you can have a network of 3, or even the classmates that you were with for masters, undergraduate, people you met during the volunteering positions, or any kind of studentship or research position that you're in, or so maintaining that network, I think, that's like my number one thing. Then definitely it's important to know where opportunities are. So for instance, I would recommend, like in my scenario, at least I knew about the finderphd.com, and it's a very nice web interface whereby you get to select, and actually you can narrow down even to the subject area, and determine whether it's fully funded, partially funded. Are they considering the nationals of that country, or does it also cover international students? Because again, that's very key, because here is the overseas school fees is not a joke, it's a lot of money. So yeah, it allows you to filter. You can also look at, think most of us are reading LinkedIn, so you can actually search PhD studentship. Then you can specify the region that you're interested in, and it will give you, you can always do that on daily basis, and it will always give you the hits. Then you can select what you want. The other sites I was visiting, things like indeed.com, a number of job sites, they will also a number of times advertise PhD positions. So yeah, it's good to just to get to know about them. The Glassdoor, you can also find those opportunities there. So yeah, then I think pertaining the second question, so why outside Kenya? So yeah, that's a very beautiful question indeed. So I remember when we were discussing with my colleague and the areas to focus, definitely, I think one of the things that I thought about was, this is the area that I would like to specialize in. And definitely I have like skill deficiency, things that I need to learn. And looking at the skills currently and things that I'm doing, it's not possible to actually pursue that form of PhD from Kenya. And yeah, I wouldn't get that particular opportunity. And also things like access to data, because now you have to apply access to very big data banks where lots of genetic data, it's very little in Africa. So I think, yeah, unless someone enrolled in South Africa probably and work with a bit of the H3 BioNet. So yeah, that led me to seek out positions out here. And besides that, it's also funding. Funding PhD is not a joke. So you might be like the first person in your village or in your family to actually go to the university. So you can be sure you don't have a very stable income actually to pay for your PhD. So most of the time, you just need to look for scholarships. And again, in-country scholarships are very limited. So yeah, if you get a good opportunity outside the country, then as long as you love it, the supervisors, the people that you're going to work with, you like them, and probably you've end a chat, a formal or informal chat, then I think, yeah, should be the way to go. Yeah.
Fantastic. So Googling skills, search skills, your networks, and I think also your mentors, they really play a really big role in that. Anyone else would like to jump in addressing this question?
I will just add something. I agree with the sentiments before, that you're really your village, the people who surround you, your colleagues, I don't think there's ever the value of having someone sound back your ideas for you, like where you want to go, what you want to do, what is possible, and especially probably people who are further down the road than you are. That's really invaluable. So your networks are really important. I think what I want to highlight is just the power of an email.
Yeah.
So reaching out to professors. So one thing, someone, was it, I think it was James Ochieno, he told me sometimes people don't advertise for opportunities. They have the money, but they don't advertise. But so you will not know the opportunities there. So you send out emails to these professors. So like how I did it is I found someone, or rather teams and PIs whose interests matched mine. Then you send an email. What are your interests? What are they doing? What will you learn? And what are you bringing? And more often than not, you'll be surprised. People actually respond to those emails. They schedule Zoom calls and you get to chat. And then you have a feel if this is, if we're clicking, if we're not, if I like what the lab is doing, am I going to learn something? Yeah, so sometimes opportunities are not advertised, but they're there. So if there's someone whose work you're interested in and they have funding, sometimes you'll see them as news bites on Twitter. Someone got a big grant from the NIH, or someone has some money researching something or looking into something. So send an email. The worst that can happen is you'll get a response that says, no, I'm not taking students now, and then you move on.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I think that aspect of do not self-reject. That's something that may shoot your shot, as first I would say. Don't self-reject, especially like the aspects of several of them are not advertised. Many people do not advertise those positions as publicly or in well-established scholarship programs. But if you get to do research, you research your research area of interest and see who's doing great work within that space, and just get to chat with them. And it may not be even about, oh, I'm looking for a PhD, but it's just you're trying to interact with them, and they can easily say, okay, this is a really good student, and they can start even looking for funding specifically for you. That also happens. Anyone else? Yes, John.
Yeah, I totally agree with everyone. And for me, just reflecting from my experience, I think just being in the research environment or appropriate environment and with appropriate contacts that I needed.
Yeah, absolutely. That's I think even that a good environment pushes you to try. You have a support system when you receive those rejections. You have a support system for someone to review your applications, even that email that you want to send out, prepare you for those interviews. It's really important also to be in that great environment. James, anything else you'd like to chip in and add to this conversation?
Yeah, maybe I can add something. Also, your network on social media, the algorithms on social media, so they see you kind of like certain topics, they'll be bringing content on those topics you like. So for example, for when I open my social media on Twitter, mostly it's about things which I am interested in. So every time you open, you see opportunities, you see new papers, new findings on the similar opportunities they're following. I'm pretty sure some of you, their social media, if you're following a certain topic, that's what you always see on your feed. So kind of following the right people. So if you follow one person, it recommends the other one and the other one, and that's how you end up to meet new people. For me, I think I've met most of the people who are willing to give me opportunities at different places just by sending DMs to them. But again, considering that I was in Kenya, they tell you, yes, you're a good candidate, but we cannot be able to bring you over here. So, but again, you look at long-term goal, probably if you ever get closer to that point, you can always reach them back and tell them, hey, I'm closer here. Can we work out something? And that's how you get to keep on moving to the next career step.
Yeah, and that also builds your confidence that you are capable. And I think that's one aspect that gives you, oh, okay, I can actually qualify. It's just the funding and the rest. So you already have the qualifications that has prepared you for that. I think, James, as you chip in, can you try and address the question by Brian? What do you think about transferring these skills learned back in our country? Are people interested in coming back and trying to improve the situation for the future generations? I think you're doing quite a bit of that.
Yeah, so so let me start with about the opportunities, and apologies to those, I've talked to many times and I've had many of my stories. So, well, no apologies, you listen to them again. So Celia has definitely talked about emails, and it's something that I've always encouraged people to do, because even if you do end up applying for a position, sometimes it's good to just write that person an email so that they would always have that mental memory of you, that, you're saying, hi, this is James. I saw this position and I'm quite interested. However, before I apply, I just wanted to check with you if you think I might be a good fit. So I always see it as a way of, making an impression. Secondly, I mean, with some of the very protracted applications for universities that, would probably take you a week, you might just save yourself all that time. If somebody says like your background is great, however, it's not a good fit for the specific PhD that I've advertised. So it might be a rejection, but it has also saved you time, investing all that time applying for something like, if some of you have applied for MBOL, probably you know how much of an experience it can be, right? So people have talked about social media. I think that's also a great place to reach out. So always have, as first, as I said, be very targeted, be very intentional. So my own experience is on Twitter, I tend to just follow academicians. So I don't follow politicians for that specific reason, because I don't want my feed to be muddied by, whether it's Azimio versus whatever the other side, the wheelbarrow guys, or whichever those things are. So yes, and to end with that, yes, so what Caleb has said, don't self-disqualify. Don't write yourself off like, I can't do this. I mean, even for my own postdoc, I just, wrote an email and asked them like, oh, I've seen this position. What kind of a person do you want? And they were so excited, like, oh, are you interested? Can I go talk to this person? Because, so it does happen that don't self-specify, try and apply as much as you possibly can. So when it comes to coming back, I think I always say it depends. It's a personal choice. For myself, yes, I have a strong feeling that, I always want to transfer my skills back. And I think it has always been that way. So not just like it's something that has come up at this point, but it's something that I've always thought about all this time. Being able to use the skill to, advance science in my own country or in my own continent. Again, like we said at the very beginning, some of the jobs that you take also depends on your own personal values. whether you think that you might do your science better in another country. There's nothing absolutely wrong with that, and or you want to transfer those skills back into your own original country, absolutely go with it. So I think it's more of a personal choice. Yeah, it depends on the individual.
That's true, and thank you for sharing that. And I think you can have an impact whether you are still outside the country or within. You can contribute even when you're outside the country. I think even James, right now you're not here in Kenya, but all of you're not here in Kenya, but you are contributing and sharing knowledge with those who are still back here. And I think it's always the aspect of building empowerment and capacity building. And that way, even if you were to come back to Kenya, your collaborators have the skills that they can work with you quite well. Anyone else would like to contribute to this? Martha?
To be honest, I think most has already been said. I think maybe I'll just comment on the coming back. It also, for me, the reason I moved to the UK was because when I compared the two opportunities, one was in Kenya and one was here, was I looked at in terms of growth. So I was going to grow more as an individual in this position compared to the other position. And I would be happy to return to Kenya if I had like a suitable project where that would maybe allow me to make an impact and also allow space for growth. So at the moment, I think that's where I lie basically, yeah.
Thank you. And I think I'll transition a little bit as we also try and wind up. I'll transition to, especially this question goes to, I think, first person still yourself, Martha, and I think a little bit Cecilia. How do you feel about the training that we receive here in Kenya? Do you feel that it prepares you for the opportunity that you received? And as you answer that as well, why did you choose to work fast, as opposed to people who usually want to transition straight to their PhD? Sorry for putting you guys on the spot. First, how would you like to start?
I let the lady start as I compose my story.
Okay.
So I'll go again. So the reason I chose to work fast instead of jumping straight into a PhD, I think it was a combination of events happening probably in my life. One was probably I felt like my master's project was a bit intense, for an average master's project. So maybe that combined with the pandemic left me a bit drained. So I was not happy to just jump into another project and sort of, I felt like I needed some time to recuperate mentally and psychologically. But also at that time, I was going through like a season where I was questioning whether a PhD was actually worth it. And especially in tech, coding and tech careers, basically, because you begin to open your mind to an outside world, industry other than academia. And you look at some of these industry partners, and a PhD to them is just a piece of paper. They're more concerned on what you can do. So I began, questioning all this. And I was like, I'm going to take a break. Of course, I talked to a few people about it, James Otieno being one of them, and my former supervisor at Kemri Welcome. And, they were all like, taking a year or two to just work will do you no harm. It will do your CV no harm. So I was like, I'm going to take this time to just think through things. And yes, I think it helped to some extent. Whether the training was enough for me to just, I'd say yes and no, in the sense that, like James Otieno has just mentioned, there is no role that you're going to apply that you qualify 100%. So there was a section of the role that needed me to learn new skills, to learn new tools, especially, dig deeper into statistics or a new language and something like that. So to some extent, my background did position me adequately to be able to venture into these new fields. But it was also like, yes, so I think it was just a balance. It did not cover everything that I needed, but I feel like I was equipped enough to explore that. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That's good.
Yeah, so for me, I think what I've learned in the transitioning. So basically, if there's one thing I'd like to be improved in the system of Kenya, basically, especially in the undergraduate, it's something I've seen work here. Like every undergraduate, they have statistical courses, regardless of the course you're doing. So like once you get to the graduate school, you have a background in statistics, algebra, and those kind of things. So again, that transitioned further in your career path. So considering that for me in my undergraduate, I did something in microbiology. Statistics wasn't important, but looking back, I think it's something that should be implemented down the road to help you as you grow on further your career. And the decision to work, I think probably all of us have kind of different goals and alignments. So for me, I think I wanted, first of all, to take a break. I think the other day I saw a meme somewhere where it was saying, don't build in silence, you might be building rubbish. So I also wanted to test how good I am in the market, also just to see what kind of potential I have. And also that kind of just working gives you also an open eye on what you want to measure in the PhD, the kind of skills you want to accumulate, because the PhD is the longest phase. I think you want to accumulate those kind of skills, be an expert in X, Y, and Z. So also getting to work also, especially in a setting of a university, you get to interact with different supervisors. Also, you can find somebody you want to do a PhD with based on the kind of topic they're doing or the research they're doing. So there's something interesting about it. So it gives you time to make decisions, also choose a path you want to choose, and also in the meantime, also improving the skills that you feel you need to improve, which I think down the road, once and if I enroll for a PhD, will make the transition very easy, just working through my research. And yeah, everything goes on smoothly.
Thank you for that. Anyone else would like to jump into that?
Maybe just to talk a little bit more. Yeah, just to support Festus's point, I feel like our curriculum could improve on the quantitative aspects in biology. It's currently very descriptive. So like maybe having the coding practices, not just to practice the programming, but to actually do a machine learning project or a statistical modeling project, so that you combine both the code and the statistics. That would position us better, because like it's been a steep learning curve, but yes.
Thank you, Martha. I think we are almost at the top of the hour. We started a bit late. Asatsa, I'd like for you to be able to, do you ever feel like an imposter? If you do, how do you deal with it? And anyone else can address this question as well.
Wow, of course, almost every week. How do I deal with it? I've recently found something that is a bit crazy. I usually go back to my application, my motivation letter, and just read to remember where I was at that point and actually what I wanted to do. Because I feel like then it didn't matter how hard or what I felt. I just knew what I wanted. So that was like when you're unaware. So that is like, that shows the purest goal when you're unaware of the struggles in between. So I go back to that girl writing that motivation letter, and that's how recently I've been able to get through it. And otherwise, I feel like you have to have a support system, someone that you can actually talk to, and that is how I've been coping. Especially here, it's you can find yourself, you're the only person in a room that you actually feel like you don't know because of subjects that most of them are advanced because of just our training back at home. And it actually makes you feel like you don't belong sometimes, but
don't belong.
yeah.
I hear you. That's really, I really do like your approach. Go back to that motivation letter that you lost, and
But that is just
look back at that.
recently, but the most important thing is just having someone to talk to, and that is my sister for me. She puts it into perspective.
Fantastic. Anyone else would like to contribute to this? Yes, Winfred.
Yeah, that's a very good question. And yeah, to be honest, I remember when I joined the program, and they were definitely, the methods were very new to me. I've never applied them, and yeah. So the first month, I was just like, oh no, I don't understand what's going around. And I was still reading papers, but I agree with what Nabire says about having a support system. So for supervisors, I have a mentor and I have a tutor. So especially the tutor is very key. So when you've that feeling, because it really just takes much of your energy and you're not able to do anything for yourself, or you just feel inadequate. So I would just schedule a meeting with my tutor and discuss over it. And this is how I'm feeling about how things are going. Yeah, because I remember I was looking at my Gantt chart, what I decided to do and how much I had achieved by then. And yeah, so we went through the program with her, and she was like, don't be too hard on yourself. And yeah, she's a professor. She was like, oh, you're complaining of imposter syndrome. Me too. I face such. And I think more or less it makes you comfortable. But again, it's not like an scapegoat for you to relax and not remember what brought you to this particular institution. But yeah, having a support system, someone you can talk to and ask for help. That's key. Like, yeah, you can't just sit back and for instance, in a PhD, or you're just learning new stuff, like Mother was mentioning about the machine learning. And yeah, you don't just sit by yourself and decide things will just work out. So I think having a support system and be open to ask for help has helped me to overcome that. So yeah, now I'm actually able to cope with any situation. And sometimes you write scripts, they don't work, but yeah, I've been able to actually overcome that aspect, but it took time. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else? Cecilia?
Imposter syndrome. Well, I agree with Winfred. I feel it almost every week. What helps is the village of people, the support system that really helps. And if it's new, if I don't know it, I read and I ask for help. Yeah, that helps. But I guess the thing is just and when I feel like an imposter, I know, like, you recognize it. It's not because you're not smart. It could be some things are just new, and you came to learn. You're here to learn. You knew there was going to be like 40 or 60% of learning, So I think as long as you're open to the learning and you appreciate this is new, I don't know this, I need help, and you look for the help, it gets better. It gets better, but it's there. Yeah. I like that even professors have it. So I guess you just you just learn how to manage it with time.
Yeah, thank you. I'll take two questions from the audience. I think we had a question from Emmanuel. Emmanuel, would you like to ask as we wind up? Apologies, we'll still a bit like 10 minutes of your time, and then should be done.
Okay. Good day, everyone. I want to thank the panelists for the great discussion. Yeah, I want to ask. I don't know if I will share my thought, and I want to know if it's right. I've always thought before one goes to graduate school, it's good someone does something like internship to know, maybe in the research institute, to know his or our own most preferred interest for research. What do you think about that? Is it okay, or should I just go ahead to shoot my shots at graduate school application, or do I need to give myself, because currently I'm feeling like, oh, I really need to undergo an internship in a research institute to know, oh, what is my strength, what is my weakness, what do I like? Or is it too early for me? Is it too early for me to pick my area of interest?
Yeah. Is it immediately after BSc, or you've done your
BSc,
master's?
after BSc. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
I think I'll let Brian speak to that. I think they've gone through some internship program, and they can speak to the value of that.
Yeah, so I would say going through these experiences of where you have to look for an internship after your BSc or even during your BSc is very, very important. Actually, extremely important now that I think of it, because in my case, this is how I got to experience the world of science, interact with it firsthand, know exactly how to apply myself in science, know what aspects of science that I want. And for me, this is also how I got to meet people in my area of interest, people who shared a common goal. And one thing led to another. Meeting one person makes you meet the next person who they know, and that person makes you meet the next person, and so on and so forth. And so I would say gaining some experience, not just in terms of learning theoretically, but actually experiencing science firsthand, skills that you learn during your internship is extremely important, because you get to learn how to do things and how to communicate and how to carry on things that interest you. And so, yeah, I would highly recommend trying to get some experience somewhere apart from just your university and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Final question from George. You raised your hand.
Thank you for answering.
Oh yeah, I didn't have a question. Just wanted to comment on the imposter syndrome. Seemed like an interesting topic, particularly for me, because I'm a living proof that I see everybody has just given good comment on it. So I'll pass.
Thank you so much. So, what I really want to thank all of you for joining this panel, and I think James has included an answer also in the chat. So if you can continue the engagement on Twitter, reach out. You guys can share your Twitter handles, and the conversation can also continue there. We're here to network, to link up, and you could meet someone who would be able to help you be a stepping stone to the next step of your career. So at this point, I think in respect of everyone's time, I think we've already gone a bit beyond. We can just any last words of wisdom and nuggets from you guys as we wind down. So we can start with James. Would you like to start?
Well, my summary is yes, as Caleb said, don't self what was the word? No, I'm forgetting. Disqualify. There are lots of opportunities out there, and in as much as we think we didn't learn this, or I'm from Kenya and I'm applying in the UK, you'll be surprised at how good the skills that you do have are actually really valued out here. Because if you look at these remarkable individuals in front of us right now, I mean, they studied in Kenya just like you did, and they're right there, and you begin asking yourself, I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of other UK or Brazilian or American students where they are. Why were they not picked? I mean, because these individuals were just good enough, if not better. So shoot your shot, write to these guys and make those applications, and you can be there. You can be them.
Absolutely. They're in really like top universities in the world doing amazing work. So
exactly.
Well said. Winfred?
All right. Thank you very much, Caleb. I think first of all, I would like to acknowledge your presence. Thank you very much, Caleb, for being a mentor and your willingness to do the dirty job of cleaning my application. Yeah, I remember when I sent out, I sent you my first application. It came back with so many reds, like, why PhD? Why now? It's not just my application should not be just like a summary of a CV. So yeah, I do appreciate every effort that you put on that. And yeah, so my advice would be, I think it's good to identify a mentor and someone who will help you navigate, especially the preparation of the application process, the interview process itself. It can take the hell out of you if you don't really understand what to prepare, because you may end up starting an application, then you realize, oh, they need a passport. I don't have a passport. So it's important that you get all those things in order. So for the preparation, what do I need? Through the interview, people to take you through the mock interview. So yeah, it's good enough to identify a mentor and probably have a network that you can do a mock interview as well. So yeah, I think that should be like something that I would recommend to my peers. Yeah.
Thank you, Winfred. Festus?
Yeah, so I think I'd also like to thank especially Cecilia. Cecilia was my first mentor in my first internship, and then came James Otieno. I remember I never knew to write a code when I met James Otieno, so I would go there and ask James, I want to copy file Y to folder X, and then he'll sit there and show me this is how you copy, which I appreciate so much. And then came Dr. Caleb, was my mentor, and then Gatua, we have been together. We had a slogan, redeeming Miaka. So we're still redeeming our years. And then Brian was also part of the people I met along the way. Martha and John, I think, have been together for the longest time, just talking about the shenanigans and the things which I go through the working in bioinformatics. But one thing I'd like to tell people, always look at the opportunities as a marathon instead of just looking at it as a sprint. So look at things as a marathon. You want to, the long-term goal where you want to be. I remember when I was taking up my first internship, actually I left a job which I was being paid. I went and took an unpaid internship. But looking back, it kind of helped me in the long-term goal. So as you go by, just look at the life as the opportunities as a marathon where you want to be in the future instead of just where you are at the moment of the short sprint, an opportunity which you're like, oh, this one I'm getting some good money. So that's it, like especially Kuza now, as Mike has put it, the med rep, that's a sprint. For a short time, you go to another place, but in the long term, once the company is shut down, that's it, that's done. So yeah, and lots of encouragement, just believe in yourself, be your number one supporter. Sometimes the luxury of getting support doesn't come always easily. Be your number one supporter and always show up, never give up. That's usually my mantra every day when I wake up. I talk to myself, I tell myself I'm the best, that's why I'm here. That's how I got to where I am right now.
Show up, keep showing up until you achieve your vision and your goal. That's fantastic. John?
Yeah, thanks, Caleb, and thanks to everyone. It was a pleasure to hear from you all. I think for me, I've learned to stay active and connected. It's important just to push yourself out of your comfort zone, learn to ask for help. Rejection is part of life. Keep tab on whatever is happening in your areas of interest. And then there's time for everything. There's time for family, holiday, and work.
Oh, that's fantastic. Nabuira?
I think the most important thing for me was just, and what I would actually tell to people is be brave. Yeah, it is never comfortable. If you really want to do something, it's usually way scary, especially for me. So being brave every day helped. So be brave, take that chance, apply for even something you know you don't have a shot for in your head, but just do it. You will get something. And also apply for things, yes. And also I would like just to thank Dr. Caleb. You just, I don't know, you just gave me an opportunity. I feel like I was for the internship, especially, being in my field, I was very new to everything. I did not have a path to follow or someone to copy the steps to take. But yeah, thank you for that opportunity.
Diane?
So first of all, I'd like to thank Festus and Dr. Caleb for the opportunity to be here, interact with you guys. It's been a learning process even for me. And I remember when I first got to ISIPE for my internship, I didn't know anything at all. Like I was extremely new to this kind of life, and Festus especially held my hand and walked me through everything. He always encouraged me to keep going, even though I might not be 100% confident in myself. He told me to just keep going, keep showing up, like he said, and part of the entire process, I believe I got through the exam period, especially thanks to him, because of the encouragement daily. And it was extremely important to me. I feel that I got to experience the opportunity at ISIPE because I think it was one of the most important turning points in my life to get where I am right now. So do not be afraid to take opportunities. Do not be afraid of rejections. Once you learn how to handle them, everyone has a baggage of rejections on their back. So do not be afraid of anything. Just keep applying yourself onto everything and trust yourself. Everything is going to be okay.
Thank you, Brian. Trust yourself. That's really brilliant. Martha?
Okay, so tough to talk after everyone has spoken. So what I can say is thank you for this opportunity, definitely. It's been lovely to share ideas with everyone else. And of course, to my mentors who are within the panel, James, Caleb, and my peers as well. My parting shot would be bold, just be bold. Send that email, be bold, say hello at that conference, be bold, knock that door. And when the time is right, the right opportunity will open. Yeah.
When the time is right. That's really brilliant. I think there's a time for everything.
Yeah.
At the right time, things more beautiful. Cecilia.
So I'd say, as long as you're moving in the general direction you want to go, sometimes it may not look as fast, but as long as you're moving, you're fine. Yeah. So sometimes you will. I remember it took me 3 years to get IF. So on my third application round, that was when I got responses to my emails, or rather favorable responses to see. So yeah, as long as you're moving in the right, in that general direction, it might be non-linear. Keep moving and remember to be kind to yourself. That's what I'd say.
Remember to be kind to yourself. Really. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed having this conversation with all of you. And it's really been great nuggets and wisdom, words of wisdoms coming from all of you. You guys are doing brilliant and amazing work. I just want to say pongezi sana, and thank you for sharing with all of us how you got there, and also just encouraging those of us who would be interested in taking the same pathway as well. So thank you all. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for all who've stuck with us for the session. I think you've learned quite a bit. And let's keep engaging, let's keep learning, let's keep growing, let's keep supporting each other. All the best, and we'll see you tomorrow.